Have you ever wanted to buy a Pocket Go 1 with a bigger screen and the exact same performance for almost twice the price? Well, PowKiddy has you covered. Hello everyone, my name is Taki, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new PowKiddy Q90. The Q90 is powered by an F1C 100S with a clock speed of around 700 MHz and 32 MB of RAM. The unit comes with a single 16GB SD card, a 1500 mAh battery, and a 3-inch 320x240 LCD screen. The Q90 comes in a design that is reminiscent of the 350H, but with much lower build quality. The redesigned board features dual speakers and USB-C for charging, but the biggest and only real difference in this device is the bigger screen. This bigger screen makes the device come in just under the dimensions of the smallest 3.5-inch handheld, the Play Go, which features a 3.5-inch screen and a better CPU. And although the Q90 is still a pocket-friendly device, it loses the charm of what made the original unit appealing. One of the biggest issues in the original Pocket Go was the poor sound quality that came from sound interference of the IPS panel. To their credit, PowKiddy was able to address this issue with their dual 1-watt speakers that do sound vastly superior to the Pocket Go 1. This is surprisingly one of the only handhelds that features rear-facing speakers, which is a nice change of pace. The following is a mic'd up sample of the sound directly from the speaker grill. If you've purchased one of these open source handhelds before, the controls on this should start to look very familiar to you since they are exact copies of the controls on the LDK. There isn't much to say here except that the controls do get the job done even though they do feel very cheap. We do, however, keep the volume slider from the original Pocket Go 1, but we do get a redesign in our shoulder keys that remain to be a single pair. This is actually not a problem since the chip that powers this really isn't strong enough to run the games that require dual shoulder buttons in the first place. The bottom of this device features our single SD card slot, which is a little disappointing in an era where almost every device that is released features dual slots, but it is to be expected since the original unit that this cloned only had a single slot. I don't know if this exists in all units, but the back panel in my device bulges out a little bit from the back, and this is something that I wouldn't expect at this price point, so that's a little unfortunate. We are, however, able to swap out the batteries on this device with a standard Nokia cell, which is something that wasn't possible on the original Pocket Go. Now, I did initially do a teardown of this device to verify that this was in fact a Pocket Go 1 clone, but it's a huge pain to put this back together, so I won't be doing it in this video. Suffice to say, this is using the exact same chip that's in the Pocket Go 1, but with a new board redesign. This device also runs on the exact same firmware as the Pocket Go 1, and I've had no issues testing out this unit using the latest Pocket Go 1 firmware. One thing that isn't really easy to capture on camera is the inconsistency of the backlit display, and this is something that I noticed on the first few minutes of using this device. Whenever you're playing a game that goes to a black screen, you will be able to notice that there is a vignette on this panel that results in the corners looking slightly darker than the center, and I personally find this to be super annoying since the bigger screen is one of the only selling points on this device. Beyond this, the panel in this device is slightly darker than the one on the Pocket Go 1, and if we do a quick comparison of the viewing angles of these two devices, you can get a better idea of what this thing looks like compared to the one that it copied. I do have to say that the screen in the Pocket Go 1 looks much sharper than the one in the Q90, along with looking more vivid. I want to go back to the software that this ships with, since I've seen other people talking about the amount of ROMs that this ships with as if it was a selling point to justify the cost. While this device does come with a lot of ROMs, they are by no means all real games or games that are all in English. If we take NES for example, you can see that there are many fake ROMs in this collection, especially with Super Mario Bros. 14, but to be honest, I don't think Chinese manufacturers can even tell the difference between real and fake games at this point. Beyond this, and the fact that many of the ROMs are only in Japanese, you'll have to deal with several issues in the emulators that are shipping on this device since they seem to be using outdated versions in several instances that lead to games being completely unplayable. Usually in a review of a device like this, I would feature a lot of gameplay footage to help people understand what the device is capable of doing, but the Pocket Go 1 is so well documented at this point that I think it would be a waste of time to feature footage on this unit. I will say that you can play many systems on this device, but if you're someone that does not like frameskip, then this is not the device for you. Many of the systems and games that run on this device will require at least a 1 or 2 frame skip to reach playable speeds. This is less of a problem with GB, GBC, Genesis, NES, and the like, but the majority of PS1, GBA, and SNES games will require you to enable frame skip. This really wouldn't be a problem if we were still in Gen 1 without other choices, but there are so many good choices out there right now that it just seems strange to pay $50 for a device that doesn't even come close to performing as well as the cheapest Gen 2 device, the Play Go. The last saving grace of this device would have to be whether or not they were able to fix the screen tearing issue that is still present in the original Pocket Go 1. And I had high hopes that PowKiddy would have been able to do this. In fact, the only reason why this review wasn't out 1 week ago was due to the fact that I've been waiting to see whether or not they would be able to force their software provider to create a better video driver for this device, but that didn't happen. So I will be using this time to showcase the screen tearing on this device, along with finally putting the nail in the coffin of whether or not the Pocket Go 1 still has screen tearing with the newest firmware. We are going to do this by testing a game whose only function is to display alternating colors at exactly 60 FPS. As you can see, the image on screen shows clear signs of screen tearing, and this is a direct result of PowKiddy copying the terrible video drivers from the original device. And just to put the naysayers out there to rest, here's the exact same test on the original Pocket Go 1, which also has screen tearing. If you want to see what this should have looked like, all you need is the device that I personally would have cloned from Gen 1, the LDK, which has zero screen tearing issues, as you can see right now. Where does this leave us? The PowKiddy Q90 is a clone of a popular Gen 1 device in a Gen 2 era with Gen 2 prices. At $50, this is a hard recommend with the current video drivers that this device uses. If PowKiddy ever does manage to fix the screen tearing on this device, that means that they would have also fixed it on the Pocket Go 1, which is a better value than this if you can put up with lower sound quality. Anyway, I'm interested to know your opinions on this. Would you pay $50 for this Switch Lite Mini, or do you think it's trash? My name is Taki, and I've been your host on this clone review. If you like what you saw here, please consider leaving a like below and subscribe to the channel for future videos. I'll catch you here next time with another review. Now go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Taki out.